Good day, everyone. We are Group 6, and today we will be presenting our topic Social Institutions and Our Identity. Before diving into our main discussion, let us first take a quick journey through the topics covered by Groups 1 to 5 because their ideas form the foundation for our topic. So, the first group tackled about social self. They emphasize that the self is not something we are born with, fully formed. It grows through our interaction with others, the norms we're expected to follow, and the culture we are raised in. These three, social interaction, norms, and culture, act as a building block of how we see ourselves and how we behave. Berger and Lachman 1966 in The Social Construction of Reality remind us that we are social beings who come to understand ourselves through our relationships and experiences. This process is called socialization. Through socialization, our sense of self is shaped and reshaped as we live and grow. So the next group tackled or explained that who we are is a product of interaction. Herbert Mead pointed out that our values, beliefs, attitudes, norms, and social constructs are all built from the exchanges we have with others. Values show what is important, beliefs guide what we hold to be true, attitudes shape our daily actions, norms tell us what is acceptable, and social constructs remind us that some things exist simply because people collectively agree on them. Put simply, every conversation, relationship, and shared idea contributes to the person who we become. As for the third group, they discuss the assumptions of the sociological perspective, which give us a deeper understanding of how the self develops. So first, the self is not present at birth. Think about it. Do babies already know who they are when they're born? Of course not. Second, the self develops only with social experience. Through language, gestures, and symbols. Imagine never talking to anyone growing up. Would you still develop a strong sense of self? Third, human behavior is shaped by group life. We behave differently with family than with friends because different groups expect different roles. And finally, our view of ourselves is influenced by interactions with others, with groups, and with institutions. Excuse me. Sometimes what others think of us changes how we see ourselves. And this connects to Mead's idea of the me and I, the two sides of the self. So the me is the socialized aspect, shaped by expectation, while the I is the spontaneous, unpredictable side that makes us unique. We learn this through language, play, and games. And for the fourth group, so they discussed Charles Cooley looking glass self. According to this theory, we don't simply see ourselves directly, we imagine how we appear to others. First, we picture how others see us. Second, we imagine how they judge us. And finally, we develop feelings about ourselves based on those imagined judgments. So what's important here is that we are not directly influenced by people's opinions, but by our perception of their opinions. So in other words, it's not what they think, but it's what we think they think that affects us. Gets ba? So for the fifth group, so they focused on the two theoretical approaches that explains identity further. So first is Mead's theory, which is symbolic interactionism. So the idea that the self is built and changed through social interaction. He gave three key reasons. So the self doesn't appear out of nowhere. We rely on others to affirm or challenge who we think we are, and what we consider important is shaped by what society values at the time. Second, Ruth Benedict and Margaret Mead's culture and personality approach. So this tells us that culture gives each self a unique flavor. Your identity in the Philippines, for example, might look very different from someone raised in Japan or the US because of different cultural practices. So, in the summary, Group 1 to 5 showed us that identity begins with interaction. The self does not stand alone. It is nurtured by relationships, guided by norms, and molded by culture. We saw how perspectives like Mead's, Cooley's, and Benedict's all agree on one thing. The self is not just an individual creation, but a social product constantly rebuilt through society. So, and that brings us here. To understand what all these processes lead to, let us turn to a quote by Stuart Hall, 1990. So, identity is the intersection where our personal story meets society's expectation. So, now what does that mean for us? It means that no matter how unique we think we are, society still plays a part in shaping us, and at the same time, we leave our mark on society. The intersection isn't just where society molds us, it's also where we push back, redefine, and create space for our own story. So now, let's explore identity itself and see how all these theories of the self lead us here.
Identity definition. General definition identity refers to the distinguishing character or personality of an individual encompassing how one sees oneself and how one is recognized by others. And psychological definition. In psychology, identity is the self-concept a person develops through experience, self-reflection, and interaction with others. Erik Erikson 1950 described identity as a coherent sense of self that integrates personal beliefs, goals, and values. Sociological definition. In sociology, identity is the collection of rules, norms, and social categories that shape who a person is in relation to society. It represents how individuals locate themselves within the social structure. For example, family, religion, education, and community. The last one is philosophical definition. Identity in philosophy refers to what makes an entity definable, unique, indistinguishable from others across time and change.
So, identity comes in many forms. Let me give you three examples because there are only three. So, first is the personal identity. So, this means that who we are as individuals. This includes roles like being a student, an athlete, or an artist. So, it is shaped by our choices, talents, and achievements. Next example is the relational identity. So who we are in relation to others. So example of that is a sibling, a friend, or a partner. It reflects how we connect and respond to people close to us. And lastly is the collective identity. So this is who we are as members of groups, like being Filipino, Catholic, or part of an organization. So this reminds us that we belong to something larger than ourselves. Now I want you to think like this. Personal identity is the color of the paint you choose for your canvas. It expresses your individuality, your uniqueness. If personal identity is the paint, relational identity is the frame. It connects your art to others. And lastly, collective identity is the gallery. So it tells others where your painting belongs and how it is seen. Now, let me ask you, what do you think are social institutions and how do they connect to our identities?
Why identity is needed for social institution? Now let's dive deeper. Identity is not only shaped by institution. It is also necessary for them to function. Number one, it provides continuity and stability, making society consistent across generations. And the number two, it provides belonging and cohesion, giving people a sense of where they fit in. Number three, it provides functionality, and rule clarity, ensuring that everyone knows their responsibility. Number 4, it provides meaning and purpose, guiding people in why they do what they do. Number 5, it guides social order and norms, helping society remains organized and predictable. Social institution, these are the definition and example. Social institutions are the structured and enduring system in society that organize human behavior, relationship, and expectation. They provide a framework for how people interact by establishing rules, norms, and values that maintain order and give meaning to social life. In the multiple identities, one person is never defined by a single identity. Through social institution, people take on multiple overlapping identities that shift depending on context. So in short, social institutions are the framework that organize our lives. They provide rules, and values that shape how we behave. And through them, we carry multiple identities: a teacher at school, a parent in the family, a voter in politics, a believer in religion, and a consumer in the economy. In short, institution may give us many masks, but they all reflect the same face, the self.
So now there are 5 key examples of social institution. First is family or kinship. So this our first institution, teaching love, care, and values. Here we are sons, daughters, siblings, or parents like Ate Joy. And the next example is the economy or market, where we learn productivity and exchange. Here we are workers, employers, or consumers. The next example is politics or government. So the system that organizes power and law. Here we are citizens, leaders, or voters. Fourth is the education or school, so the place of knowledge and skill building. Here we are students, teachers, or alumni. And lastly is the religion or church, where we develop faith and moral values. Here we are believers, ministers, or devotees. So to remember these 5, think of the mnemonic FREP: family, religion, education, politics, and economy. Just like a recipe like FREP, how I don't know how to pronounce that, pero ang spelling sa mnemonic is FREPE, so which is FREP. And these 5 ingredients mix together to shape society.
Before we conclude, let us clarify some terms. Identity versus personality. Identity is about who you are, while personality is about how you think, how you feel, and how you behave. Rule versus duty. Rule is defined your position, while duty is defined specific responsibilities. In the social institution versus organization, the social institution is provide a framework for social interaction, while the organization is a structured group with a specific goal function.
So to wrap up, groups 1 to 5 explain the process of self-development, while our topic explain the result, which is the identity and social institutions. We've seen that identity is both personal and social, and that institutions provide a space where those identities live and grow. So let me have you with this quote. We are not just shaped by society, we also shape society through who we choose to become. And that is the power of identity. It begins with the self, but it transforms the world. Thank you. So these are the references or the sources taken from whatever we got it. Here are for the definitions of the identity and for the social institutions. So thank you for listening.